Chosen one, what I am about to share with you will open a door that leads to a future beyond anything you've dared to imagine. From this moment onward, it is no longer your duty to strive in the way you once did. No more sleepless nights, no more desperation, no more feeling like you're stuck in an endless cycle of work that wears down your soul. Today you step into a reality where God Himself takes full responsibility for your provision, your wealth, your comfort, your expansion. This message is no accident. You have been guided here. Before we go any further, take a moment to hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and comment with the sacred number 777. This simple act will supercharge the energy released in this video, aligning you with the abundance that is about to become your new normal. If you are truly a chosen one, you will feel it in your spirit. This is meant for you. You may feel a rush of emotions right now, excitement, curiosity, maybe a bit of disbelief. Yet deep down, there's a warm stirring in your heart because you sense that something greater than yourself is at work. For so long, you've been pushing forward, hustling, grinding, trying to make ends meet or build that dream from the ground up. You've done everything in your power. You've sacrificed your free time, your health, your peace of mind. Perhaps you've seen some breakthroughs, small rewards for your tireless effort, but the real question is, does your heart still burn with exhaustion? Do you sense there must be a better way, a path where you can breathe freely, trusting that an almighty hand is carrying you? That sense of restlessness, that inkling that a greater destiny is calling, has led you here. Let your heart receive this truth. You are no longer obligated to achieve your blessings through endless toil. God is stepping in, taking over the work you once thought you had to do alone. And He's ushering you into a season of effortless increase. It's not about discarding discipline or letting go of your passions. It's about embracing a new mindset where you partner with God instead of struggling in isolation. This partnership transforms work from a burden to a joy, from a constant battle to a steady, graceful walk, hand in hand with the one who promised to supply all your needs. Don't let anyone tell you it's impossible. The world may have hammered into you that hard work is the only way forward, that you can't rely on miracles, that finances only come from grueling labor. But you are a chosen one, and your life runs on heavenly principles, not mere earthly logic. When God places His favor upon you, the rules of scarcity no longer hold you captive. Money, opportunities, and resources begin to manifest in astonishing ways. You can still engage in activities you love, but with the assurance that God is the one making it flourish. What once felt like an uphill climb will transform into a current of grace that carries you effortlessly toward your destiny. Picture yourself waking up each day with renewed energy, not because you forced yourself through another draining schedule, but because the peace of God has refreshed your soul overnight. Instead of feeling pressure to produce results from your own strength, you trust that God's supernatural hand is already opening doors. You walk into meetings confident that you're not alone. You step onto job sites, into studios, offices, or wherever you operate, knowing you're an instrument of divine blessing. You're no longer a lonely struggler. You are a vessel that the Creator of the universe is filling with endless supply. Some might say, but if we don't work, how will we survive? That question comes from a place of fear and an old paradigm that ties our worth to constant labor. For the chosen one, there's a deeper reality. You're not giving up on action, you're surrendering the illusion of control. God never intended for you to live under the crushing weight of striving. He intended for you to move in sync with His will, acting when He prompts you and resting when He calls you to rest. This divine dance leads to supernatural results that defy explanation. From now on, let your mindset shift. No more identifying as a person scraping by through your own limited effort. You are a child of the King, an heir to a never-ending inheritance of blessings. When you walk through life with that knowledge, you carry yourself differently. You embrace each day with open hands, expecting favor to chase you down. You speak with authority, knowing your words have the power to shape reality. You bless others freely, not fearing that you'll run out of resources because your source is infinite. This is not some pipe dream. This is the biblical principle of living in covenant with a God who never fails to keep his promises. Perhaps you're thinking of all the times you prayed and felt no answer came, or the heartbreak you experienced when your best efforts led to disappointment. Hear this. Even those painful moments were shaping your heart, preparing you to recognize that what is about to happen now is not your own doing. The moments you deemed failures were sowing seeds of resilience, humility, and faith. And faith is the currency of heaven. Faith is what allows you to partner with God's willingness to provide in ways that blow your mind. Now is the time for those seeds to blossom into a harvest so bountiful that it erases the memory of every dry season. You might remember days you couldn't pay a bill, days when anxiety squeezed your chest because you didn't know where the next check would come from. Those days are fading into your past as you stand on the threshold of an extraordinary future. It's not wishful thinking, it's the unveiling of your divine inheritance. God is removing obstacles you couldn't remove on your own. He's causing your name to be spoken in rooms you've never entered. He's reminding you that success is not about burning yourself out. It's about remaining faithful, open-hearted, and steadfast in believing He will fulfill His word. There's a kind of freedom you're about to taste that no job title or worldly achievement could ever give you. It's the freedom of knowing that your finances, your daily bread, and your tomorrow are secured by the hand of the divine. Instead of laboring under the weight of fear, you'll be fueled by inspiration and guided by revelation. Ideas will come to you without struggle, fresh concepts, solutions to problems, even creative business plans. This flow of inspiration might feel supernatural, almost too easy, but that's precisely how God works. He gets glory when we can't boast in our own efforts, only in His miraculous provision. This shift won't just affect your finances, it'll transform your relationships, your inner peace, your health, and every facet of your life. You wake up feeling energized by the knowledge that you're cradled in divine favor. You'll enter conversations with a calm assurance, unshaken by negativity, because you know that the King of Kings has already spoken a better word over you. Where you once experienced friction in family or friendships, you'll now carry a reconciliatory presence that heals old wounds. Trust will grow in places where doubt had reigned. Grace will flow where tension used to thrive. This is what happens when the open heaven above you becomes more than a concept. It becomes your lived reality. People may look at you in wonder, asking, "How are you thriving like this?" They'll question your peace, your success, the unexpected windfalls that seem to land in your lap. You can humbly point them to the truth, that you are living under a different covenant, one where God Himself has taken on the role of provider, champion, and waymaker. No more forcing solutions, no more forging ahead in desperation. Every door that needs to open will open at precisely the right time. Every resource necessary for your calling will appear without you having to chase it. This is the hallmark of a life surrendered to divine orchestration. Now, some of you might feel a tinge of guilt. You grew up being taught that you must work tirelessly for every blessing, that if you're not exhausted, you're not truly doing enough. Let me set you free from that lie. God's original design for you involves purposeful, satisfying activity, but never toil that crushes your spirit. There's a difference between meaningful work and relentless, fearful striving. Meaningful work aligns with your gifts, passions, and God's plan. Fearful striving is a futile attempt to secure what God wants to give you freely. In this new season, you'll engage in the former activities that bring you joy, not exhaustion. Let your heart rest in this truth. You do not have to worry. You do not have to figure it all out. God's vantage point is far higher than yours. He sees the entire tapestry of your life from the beginning to the end. He orchestrates connections you didn't even realize you needed until they arrive. He protects you from pitfalls you didn't know existed. You may think of a million what-ifs, but that mental chaos ends when you surrender control, allowing the divine to take over the burden of your well-being. This is not apathy or passivity, it's spiritual wisdom to allow God's mighty hand to operate fully on your behalf. Take a moment and look back at your journey. Reflect on the times you overcame obstacles that once seemed insurmountable. Realize that even then it wasn't just your effort. A mysterious grace was at work, nudging you in the right direction. That same grace, multiplied beyond your wildest dreams, is what you're about to walk in every single day. Your future is painted with brush strokes of glory. If your heart can even begin to fathom it, you might feel tears of gratitude welling up. That's the Holy Spirit confirming that your life is about to be a showcase of divine provision. Now let these words sink in. No more work, it is God's duty now. This doesn't imply that you'll sit idle. It means the days of strenuous labor under the illusion that everything relies on you are over. God Himself is stepping in to ensure that you live in a perpetual overflow, richness forever. As you align with this message, watch your perspective shift dramatically. You'll see tasks and responsibilities differently, not as burdens, but as opportunities for God to demonstrate His power. You'll no longer carry the weight of how will I make it happen, because you'll be too busy celebrating what God is already causing to happen. If you sense any resistance in your mind right now, understand that's just the old paradigm of scarcity and stress trying to cling on. Let it go. Faith is the door through which abundance walks in. Release old patterns of doubt and any belief that you have to hustle to earn your right to be blessed. In God's kingdom, blessings flow from relationship, from trusting that He truly is Jehovah Jireh, your provider. He made the heavens and the earth. How trivial is your rent, your mortgage, your business capital compared to the God who shaped the stars? When you dwell on that truth, worry dissolves into wonder. With each new morning, step into this reality. Declare over yourself, I am the chosen one, and from now on, no more burden of work in the old sense, because God is fulfilling His duty to care for me. Affirm this every day until your mind fully rewires, until your heart fully believes, until the energy of heaven saturates every cell in your body. The more you declare it, the more it becomes your truth. And as it becomes your truth, you'll see the miraculous start appearing in what used to be mundane. It might be as simple as finding favor with people in positions to bless you, or as grand as receiving windfalls that erase every financial concern. It doesn't stop with finances, though. Think of the relationships in your life you've been too exhausted to nurture properly. Get ready for a refreshing wind to blow through them. Harmony and understanding will flourish where tension once stood. Doors of communication will open wide, and you'll find it easier to forgive, to rebuild trust, and to love without reservations. This is all part of living in the overflow. When God shows up as your provider, He provides everything, from intangible blessings like peace and joy to tangible ones like money, contracts, or possessions. Nothing is off limits to His divine generosity. People might start saying, "You've changed. There's something different about you." They may not pinpoint it, but they'll sense the lightness in your spirit, the unwavering calm in your speech, the radiant hope in your eyes. That's the signature of someone who no longer carries the world on their back. Your testimony will encourage others to seek the same rest you've discovered. They'll want to know how you found this effortless flow, and you'll be ready to point them toward the truth that changed your life. that God is more than a distant concept. He's an active provider who steps in to relieve you of burdens you were never meant to carry. Remember, the old ways might try to drag you back. A random bill might appear that looks intimidating. A personal conflict might flare up unexpectedly, or an opportunity might slip through your fingers. Don't let these moments deceive you. They're merely fleeting distractions in a bigger story of victory. The promise over your life stands unshakable. God has declared that from now on, it's His duty. So, even in the face of seeming setbacks, keep your heart anchored in unwavering faith. Often, what appears as a setback is merely a setup for something far greater. Resist the urge to step back into a mindset of frantic striving. Stay aligned with the principle that God is in charge. One day soon, you'll look around in amazement, realizing you've stepped into a realm of prosperity you used to only dream about. You'll see that your resources multiply faster than you spend them, that you rarely wonder how anymore, because the how keeps revealing itself in perfect timing. You'll be able to bless causes you care about without hesitation, to lavish love on people around you, to invest time in personal growth or community projects that feed your spirit because you're not consumed by endless work obligations. You'll watch your life become a beacon of possibility to those who need hope. When you think of the future, no longer will you feel dread or uncertainty. Instead, you'll feel excitement and anticipation because you know the story God is writing is one of continual expansion. You'll realize that true wealth isn't limited to a bank account balance. It's the freedom to live without the chains of anxiety, the freedom to share generously, the freedom to spend time on what truly matters. This is the promise of richness forever, not a momentary surge of prosperity, but a life infused with the perpetual outpouring of God's grace. Let this message sink so deep that it resonates every time you take a breath. You are a chosen one, set apart to exemplify divine provision. This new era of your life will show others that there is a higher way, a life free from the oppression of never-ending labor. And as they witness your transformation, they may be inspired to seek the same truth you discovered. In turn, your blessing becomes a ripple that touches hearts and changes lives beyond what you can see. This is how God multiplies goodness, through each of us passing the torch of hope to another. Keep in mind, none of this requires your perfection. It simply requires your yes. Your heart's agreement is the doorway God has been waiting to open. And once that door is flung wide, unstoppable blessings flood in, saturating every aspect of your journey. It's not about living without challenges. It's about facing challenges from a place of divine security, knowing that every problem already has a God-ordained solution. Frantic worry transforms into childlike trust. What used to be impossibilities turn into stepping stones for growth. And through it all, you remain at rest, because you understand that the ultimate responsibility no longer rests on your shoulders. If the magnitude of this resonates with you, let your actions seal your agreement. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment 777 to mark this moment of powerful alignment. That single action is your declaration. You accept that from now on, no more draining work. It's God's duty now. And as you do it, feel the weight lifting off your soul. Envision yourself stepping into a spacious place where opportunities abound, where the air is fresh with possibility, and where your responsibilities become privileges because God's love is fueling everything. Embrace the truth that no earthly force can stand against God's plan for your life. Regardless of what naysayers or skeptics may claim, you will bear witness to wonders that defy all logic. The same God who spoke galaxies into existence can surely handle your finances, your career, your relationships, your well-being. Let that sink in and set you free from every trace of limited thinking. Once you realize how vast God's resources are, you'll never again fear that your own might run out. Scarcity becomes a foreign concept when your supply chain is heaven itself. This is the season where you step into a restful yet active partnership with the divine. You step away from the burdensome approach that demanded you do everything alone. God's voice will guide you step by step. Sometimes you'll feel led to act swiftly, to seize certain moments. Other times you'll feel led to pause, to reflect, to wait for God to orchestrate the perfect scenario. This balance, this synergy between you and the Almighty, ensures your life remains in harmony with your highest calling. You become more productive in less time, more creative without the strain, more influential without the force. Picture what your life looks like under this new covenant. The daily stress that used to weigh on your chest disappears as quickly as morning fog under the rising sun. Your prayers transform from desperate pleas to joyful conversations, praising God for what He has already set in motion. Your nights become restful and your days purposeful. You find time for solitude, for exploring creative passions, for deepening relationships. Everything you do flows from a place of fulfillment rather than need. And the more you settle into this flow, the more it becomes second nature, an unbreakable bond with the source of all riches. In the midst of this radiant transformation, remember to stay humble. A huge outpouring of blessings can sometimes tempt people to forget where it all comes from. Keep your heart anchored in gratitude, acknowledging at every turn that without God, none of this would be possible. Gratitude ensures your blessings multiply instead of stagnate. It keeps you in tune with the heart of God, who delights in giving to those who steward well. And as you remain rooted in gratitude, others can sense the genuine depth of your peace and joy. When challenges pop up, and they will, it's crucial to maintain this posture of trust. In fact, challenges often appear right before a breakthrough. Look at them not as obstacles, but as confirmations that a mighty door is about to open. Each test becomes a testimony in waiting. Each moment of uncertainty is a chance for you to lean back into God's arms and watch Him deliver you, just as He promised. In these times, let your faith speak louder than any anxious thought. Affirm what you know in your spirit, that you are under divine care, and no situation is beyond redemption. As you thrive in this place of abundance, others will come to you for advice, hoping to taste the same freedom. Your story of liberation from exhaustive work will become a guiding light for those still trapped in fear and limitation. By simply sharing how you let God shoulder your burdens, you'll plant seeds of faith in their lives. They too can discover that real wealth is never a product of endless labor. It's a gift given freely by a loving Creator who wants to see us flourish. In that sense, your new life becomes a ministry, a living sermon that declares, "Look what God can do for those who trust Him." Cherish the adventure that lies ahead. This path may not always be predictable, but it will be wondrous. You'll look back one day, astonished at how God navigated you through storms that once seemed insurmountable, led you to green pastures you didn't even know existed, and positioned you in rooms you never thought you'd enter. Every day, the dimension of God's favor expands within and around you, revealing that there's no limit to His generosity. The more you open your heart to it, the more you discover you can't outgive, outdream, or outlove the one who holds it all. Let the phrase "richness forever" echo in your mind. This isn't a fleeting season, not a temporary patch of good fortune. It's a permanent shift in how you exist. It's a fundamental reorientation of your life's center of gravity, from self-effort to divine enablement. Richness forever means your finances are secure in God's infinite economy. Your emotional well-being is anchored in His unwavering love, and your spiritual reservoir never runs dry. The rest of the world can ride waves of uncertainty, but you remain steady because your foundation is unshakable. When you step outside tomorrow, do so with a new posture. Shoulders back, head held high, eyes filled with anticipation for what God will do next. Listen for the subtle guidance of the Spirit. He may prompt you to speak to someone, to share an idea, or to walk through a door you previously ignored. Each nudge is a stepping stone leading to bigger revelations of God's faithfulness. And with every step you will find the tangible proof of these words, that no more is it your solo work, but God's loving duty to ensure your success. When you sense fear or doubt creeping in, remember this moment. Remember that you joined hands with the divine, relinquishing the right to carry burdens that were never yours. You no longer chase blessings, blessings chase you. You no longer toil to be worthy, you awaken to the fact that you have always been worthy in God's eyes. You are covered by an all-consuming grace that bestows upon you a title no human can revoke. Beloved child of the King, rightful heir to a fortune beyond comprehension. In your quiet moments, let your soul dwell on how far you've come. Reflect on the times you nearly gave up, but found an inexplicable strength to press on. That was always God, whispering promises of a future that would eclipse your painful past. Now the radiant sunrise of that future is dawning. Feel the warmth of it on your face, the softness of it in your heart. This season of your life will be marked by a beautiful outpouring of everything you once thought was out of reach. Peace, joy, financial freedom, meaningful relationships, and an ever-present sense of God's closeness. Some may question or challenge you, but your life will speak louder than any argument. They'll witness the fruit of your faith, a garden of blessings that can't be explained by mere coincidence or personal genius. And, in that witnessing, some will be drawn to the same source you've discovered. They'll ask how they too can live free of the hamster wheel of endless work. And you'll be ready with the simple, profound answer: surrender to God's perfect plan. Trust that He cares for every detail and watch how He turns burdens into breakthroughs. This is only the beginning of what God intends to do. As you continue to say yes to His guidance, further dimensions of prosperity will unfold. You might discover new gifts hidden within you, new passions you hadn't considered, or new networks that expand your influence for good. The puzzle pieces of your life will click into place with graceful ease. Strangers may refer to it as luck, but you'll know it's the fruit of living in the unforced rhythms of grace, where God's duty is to provide and your privilege is to receive with gratitude. Let your next breath be a breath of release. Inhale trust, exhale worry. Inhale peace, exhale striving. Feel the shift in your chest as the tension dissolves, replaced by a lightness that comes from absolute conviction that you are safe in God's hands. Day by day, you'll become more sensitive to the presence of God's guidance, more aligned with the miracle-working power that parted seas and raised the dead. If He can do all that, He can surely handle your finances, your dreams, your relationships, and your every need. Listen again to the clarion call. From now on, no more laboring under anxiety. The work you do will be an outflow of passion and creativity, not of dread and fear. It is God's duty now, richness forever. Let those words echo until they become a permanent melody in your spirit. You no longer push a boulder uphill. You glide with the momentum of divine support. Let the comfort of this truth settle into every fiber of your being, so that even when circumstances look contrary, your faith remains unshakable. And so, dear chosen one, your new era begins this very instant. Close your eyes and envision a life where your greatest efforts pale in comparison to God's lavish blessings. Now open them and understand that this vision is not just a fantasy, it's a reality emerging around you. By liking this video, subscribing, and commenting 777, you seal this moment in your heart. Watch as the floodgates of heaven open wider than ever before. You'll soon see evidence that God has taken up your cause, freeing you from the hamster wheel of self-reliance and setting you on the open highway of supernatural provision. Each day forward, wake up and declare, "No more heavy work, it's God's duty now." Let that bold statement stir your faith and usher in a brightness that touches your home, your workplace, every conversation, and every possibility. Let your story become a living example of what it means to pass the torch of burden-bearing to the one whose strength never fails. In doing so, you'll inspire others to cast off their own burdens. This is the sacred turning point of your journey, the day you look back on and say, "Everything changed when I finally stepped aside and let God take over." May the peace that transcends understanding fill your heart, the joy of anticipation guide your steps, and the unwavering love of God propel you into a future bursting with unimaginable blessings. You are not just hoping for a better tomorrow, you are standing on the threshold of it. Claim it now, chosen one, for the promise is yours to embrace.